Hey guys, John here with another installment of Walk and Talk, and today I want to talk about something a little bit different. I want to talk about the legitimate problem with subtitled movies. Now, this came up because the other night, for those of you who follow my social media, you know that I went to go see one of the best movies of the year, Parasite. This movie's incredible. The way I described it on Twitter was that imagine if Dirty Rotten Scoundrels was directed by Quentin Tarantino. Anyway, after I wrote that, somebody wrote to me and said, I'm not usually somebody who watches movies with subtitles. Would somebody like me be able to watch and enjoy the film? And it got me thinking about it, because I remember a couple of years ago, there was a lot of discussion going on in film fandom about, should people watch movies with subtitles? Is it okay if people don't like them? How many people don't like watching them? It was a big deal for a little while. And look, I admit right up front that for a while, I had a very snobby point of view about it. It's like, how dare you not like subtitled foreign films? Why don't you go and become literate, you unwashed swine? Like, I kind of had that sort of an attitude, which was pretty bad. But despite the fact that there's a number of subtitled movies that are in like my all-time top 20, movies like Amelie, Life is Beautiful, The Departed, Parasite might even be in that top 20 now. Anyway, despite the fact that there are a lot of subtitle films I just love, and that's not even counting a lot of the old classics, I have to admit, more and more, I've been starting to realize there is one kind of inherent, real legitimate problem with us in North America watching subtitled films. Now, the problem isn't reading. I'm okay with reading. I think more people should be okay with reading, and I'll still tease my friends who don't like subtitled movies just because you have to do a little bit of reading. I'll tease them for that. But I first really noticed it when watching one of my favorite little genres of films, the Kung Fu movie, right? Watching Kung Fu movies, you want your eyes to be on the screen where the action's going on, right? And I found sometimes, I have to admit, I found it a little bit frustrating the amount of times I used to have to take my eyes off the action because my eyes had to be at the bottom of the screen reading the dialogue instead of just hearing it and keeping my eyes on the action. Coming out of Parasite, I thought about that a little bit when it came out of the movie. And first of all, I love Parasite. It's absolutely fantastic. It's probably my second favorite movie of the year right now, but let me think about that for a little while longer. Love the movie. But here's the one thing I really noticed. The performances in Parasite are so freaking good. Like, they're so good. And it's not just the lines they say or how they say it. It's also the expression in their faces as the dialogue's being delivered. Like, it's really, really just a solid film with solid performances across the board. And I realized, watching the film and coming out of it, that there were times that I was getting a little bit frustrated, that instead of having my eyes on the actor's face as they're delivering their lines, to see how they're emoting what they're talking about, the way they use the curling of their lips, the nudging of their eyes, the whole bit, I found myself sometimes a little bit frustrated that I had to have my eyes down at the bottom of the screen reading the words instead of taking in the full force of the performance they were giving. So look, I am certainly not anti-subtitled movies at all. Some of my favorites are subtitles, but I gotta admit, as somebody who does watch them and somebody who's some of those films are some of my all-time favorites, there are a couple of legitimate criticisms and some legitimate difficulties there are for we as English-speaking North American audiences sometimes in watching those movies. Sometimes it's difficult to watch them because they're so brilliant and you want your eyes glued to the screen for what you're getting instead of down on the bottom. So I guess the two messages I have here today in this little walk and talk is this. Watch more subtitled films, because some of them are just absolutely phenomenally brilliant. Some of them are terrible, just like every other type of movie there is. But the second message is this. If you find yourself getting a little bit frustrated watching them sometimes, I feel your pain, because I know where you're coming from. They're still totally worth it, still totally worth watching, but I think it's fair to say, hey, sometimes I'd rather have my eyes up on the main action of the screen instead of down at the bottom of the screen, missing out some of the things going on, whether it's action in a kung fu movie or the full performance of an actor. I get it. I feel your pain. Anyway, guys, how do you feel about subtitled movies and needing to watch movies with subtitles? Do you have no frustrations at all? Is it no big deal for you? Are they impossible for you to watch? How do you feel about it? Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. And that'll do it for today's installment of Thoughts on Walks.